My name is Era, and I'm the host of the Tamil Creator Podcast. I chat with creators from all over the world to share their stories and discuss hot topics in a way that I hope inspires, educates, and entertains you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Tamil Creator. I'm your host, and today I'm excited to chat with Dunstan Peter. Me and him have been trying to connect for months, almost a year now, and I finally nailed him down, and I got him on the podcast. So Dunstan, has a really great story. I think I met him like a number of years ago with one of his businesses, which he still runs today. But for those of you that don't know, quickly, Dunstan Peter was only 17 when he immigrated to Toronto to join his family after being separated for about 5 years. When he arrived in Canada, he was placed in grade 10, worked hard to overcome language and financial challenges to pursue his goals of a higher education. He went on to get an electrical engineering degree from Western, an applied degree from Fanshawe College in process control, robotics, and electronics. And he also has an executive MBA from Queen's University. And presently, he's the founder and CEO of several companies, including the first company, which I mentioned, Trinity Tech, which employs a lot of people, over 150 people across 5 offices in Canada, US, and Mexico. So Dunstan, thanks for kind of joining and allowing me to, force you to kind of join the podcast. So thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So why don't we start at the beginning? For me, I'm always fascinated by upbringings and like the beginning. That I think that really sets a trajectory for how somebody views the rest of their life, or how the rest of their life kind of plays out. So let's start off with you. Like, how was your childhood? Like, what was your upbringing like? Tell us about that.
Childhood was very fun. Thank you for asking. At the time, obviously, the war was there. IPKF, right? Indian forces were there. As everybody else, we had so much problems. We can't go to school, and bombing, war, it's a lot of issues happened that time, right? So this I'm talking about 89, right? 1988, 89, 93. So it's at the time, we weren't able to go to school, so I went up to grade 5. Then we need to run away from Jaffna. I born in a small village called Palai, Jaffna, right? So from there we moved to Colombo. So I was there for 3 years. Then I got separated from my parents at age of 12, like you said. After that, I went to India. I was in India for 2 years alone. Then came back to Canada here to join with my family. That's my childhood pretty much in a nutshell. But I loved everything I had there. I still remember, and all the marbles playing and cricket games and with all the friends and all those things, lovely memories. I still have it. I loved it. Other than that, when I came here, it's another struggle, right? Obviously financial problems. My parents were struggling as well. Heavily, and with my other 2 brothers and a sister was here, and we every month pretty much we had red notice to get kicked out from the apartment. So lack of food, right? Fridge was empty that time, and it's daily survival pretty much. Weekly you make the money and you pay for the stuff, and that's you're out, right? So these are the type of environment I grew. But one thing I didn't lose was my education. I was focused, right? And even though I had 9 jobs and everything, I still studied hard. I believed in education. Then that's what drove me to this level right now. Then I went to pursue engineering and MBA and international business school and everything. So I just, wanted to study. I was hungry for education because I lost it. I lost it while I was in Sri Lanka and also in India. So what drove me to study more is to catch up the time that I lost pretty much, right? That's my childhood. Then after the rest is history, business world. Yeah.
In terms of you mentioned, I think you had a few years away from your family in both Sri Lanka and then in India by yourself. I feel like at a young age, that must have had some impact on you in terms of whether it's good or bad in terms of developing your character and kind of who you are, kind of being alone, for that time. Did you feel that way, or how do you feel that period of time impacted you?
I'll be honest, I'm blessed that it happened to me. I'm the guy who always take everything as positive, right? What happened to me in India and Sri Lanka was, when I was in India, I cannot go to school because nobody there to sign me to school, right? Because you need a guardian to sign off. So in Sri Lanka, it was the same thing when I was in Colombo as well. So That time, all I can do is just reading a lot of books. That's all I did. I read everything I had in my hand. I went to just some side stores and bought Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, you name all the books I just read, including the entire Bible. I read it, right? So these are the things just draw me to gain more knowledge and put me in a perspective that things wouldn't be things not will not go the way you want it, right? But what you learn from that and applying in life is what it is. So while I was in India, I go to church. I'm Catholic, so I go to church. When I go to church, a lot of people on the street begging and for saying food. So every Sunday when I go, I had very less money as well that time. So whatever I had, I just go and buy a big loaf of bread, lot of bread, and just hand over to people. That's the cheapest I can buy. So I just hand over to people. So that giving nature has created me to make more money right now. As also that any opportunity I see, I grab it, because I can help a lot of people. That while I was in India, that seed put in my heart as to learn education, learn more things, and as well as giving to others, how important is in my seed put in my heart right now. That's what it's driving me right now.
So you said like you needed a guardian to sign off in both places that you weren't able to. That's why you weren't able to go to school. So were you living by yourself as like a young boy? Like where were you living? Like who was taking you in as this young boy?
So I was living with one of the family friend for 2 years in Colombo, right? My parents left there. Then after one of the agent brought me to India and left me in Trichy and Madras for 3 years there. So back and forth. I was living with like random boys who just have the same situation as I am, right? We pretty much had only one meal a day, right? That time I didn't have connection to my parents for 6 months. So I ate only 11 o'clock in the morning. So we wake up late, 11 o'clock, we eat. Then after we play cards and everything, right? Then at nighttime, we play donkey. That time is the card game, right? Card game, we played donkey, and whoever loses, they had to drink a glass of water. So that time, yeah, that's what we did. So that will kind of, you forget about the hunger, then you go to sleep and wake up early morning, 11 o'clock, you eat one meal. That's it. So it's almost 6 months I was there like that, right? Then I moved. It was a hardship, right? It's mental stress. It's because you miss your parents that time. You don't know where the hell you're going and what's happening. It's sort of after 6 months, my parents were able to track me and bring me back from Trichy to Madras. Then they put me through another family as well. Then I'll live with the family until I came here.
Got it. Okay. So like, I mean, that's, like you said, there's two ways to look at it. Either like that was a very negative situation or it's positive, but you decided to kind of pull the positive from kind of what was could be a challenging childhood to kind of forge ahead, get educated, build businesses. So I've known you from the Trinity Tech days, but where was there like any other businesses or like things or like entrepreneurial ventures you did before Trinity Tech, or was that the first venture like you officially started, or was there anything
That's my
that?
first venture officially started.
Got it. And like, how did you get that idea? Like, why did you decide to, like, how did you come up with this idea?
Before I started Trinity Tech, I was helping my father's business as well. He had employment agency, so I was helping him during high school time. Also, while I'm in university, I was traveling back and forth from London to Toronto to help his business as well, right? But then after I became an engineer, then I went to work in Windsor at Ford. Then right after 3 years, I worked there as a robotics engineer. And I came to Oakville plant to work as a quality / electrical engineer to support another client there, right? So that time I saw an opportunity. Actually, I would say I didn't see it, but I would say that's an accident happened to me while I was driving to Oakville plant, Ford plant, early in the morning. And one of the lady was driving and she had a table on the top of the car, and it's ripped apart and hit my windshield. The whole entire vehicle of mine is damaged, and all the fire trucks, cops were there. I left my phone in the car, and the car got towed to the body shop, and I took my phone and looked at it. It's 52 missed calls, right? It's all from directors and engineers and from the executive level. I'm like, what the hell is going on, right? I was panicking. So that time I had the accident. What happened was one of the product, the navigation system I was supporting, I was failing at the end of the line. So when you slow down one minute in at Ford plants costing $85,000 per minute for production damage, right? So yeah, so the cars have started to park, right? So they can't stop the line, so it's getting parked. So I'm the guy who can give the solution for that or support that, right? And to put a containment. So I went to the engineering office and I went to see the engineer and he said, "Dunstan, you're fired. You know, go and see a doctor." Yeah, right.
Did they know you got into an accident though?
I know, no, nothing happened. He shot the email to let me go, right? And
No, but
he
he
knew
didn't.
what
But he
happened.
didn't know that. He didn't know that you were late because, or you didn't answer your calls because you got into an accident. Like you almost died.
Yeah, I know. He didn't know anything about it, right? So I said, okay, let me go and take care of the situation. I went and took care of the situation. I wrote a nice report with the pictures. I did some pictures and everything. And this is what happened to me and everything. But my other director from another company said, "Dunstan, come to me and we'll hire you as a process engineer," right? So he offered me a job, right? When I explained the situation. But at the time I lost a job, right? Then it made me kind of a furious as well, right? And but when I went to the reason, what goes in my mind that time was, okay, I am 33 and I lost my job. What if this happened to me when I was 55 or 45? What happens to my family? And that time I would be an outdated engineer kind of thing, right? In my mind, right? Because anyway, so then I went to another job and as a process engineer working for 3 weeks, and so very slow paced. Salary was good, but slow paced. I'm like, in my mind, this is really keep bugging me. What the hell happened? Why this happened, right? But I always believe in this kind of a science. Everything happened for a reason, and I was prepared to launch companies while I was working before 3 years back. I had everything prepared and modeled out. In the future, I'm going to run a business. So immediately I pulled the card out and said, okay, let me go on my own way, right? Then I went back to Ford and said, okay, I have a company now to do this business, and I can improve these quality issues and software issues with the vehicles, right? So I started to see the clients there. So once that time the product was launching new, they needed help. So I was able to fix a lot of their issues, right? And they started to recommend me to other clients as well. So pretty much when Ford wouldn't deal with you unless you have something, right? Either you had to be 300% smart than someone or 400% hardworking than someone, right? So that's the type of environment we grew, right? And was working. So when the project came to me, and this is my chance for me to prove. So my first project was at nighttime. So freaking cold and everything. So I went out and did myself. Next day morning, I came and did the report. It's outside, I had to work with the vehicles, right? So she was happy. And next day, when I walk in, one of the manager from Dearborn, he came and grabbed my hand and asked me to come to the engineering department. I said, "Dunstan, I want this project to go to Dunstan," right? I'm like, what project, right? So that time, the one of the Dunstan, is that you? Like, you have a company now? I'm like, yeah, I have a company right now, and can you please help me, right? And so he gave me the opportunity to start. So that time, 10,000 vehicles I need to do a job, right? 10,000 vehicles myself. So I had to assemble a team to get that done. So pretty much other companies.
So sorry. What are you doing like to these 10,000 vehicles?
Let me get to that in a second. Yeah. So pretty much, other companies quoted to do this job for 3 weeks. But if you per day of a vehicle parked at the Ford plant is costing the $10. If $10,000 it costs me, $100,000 is costing them, right? So I was able to finish the entire project with I worked with the team and get it done within 4 days, right? Wow. So they were so impressed by that. Pretty much, any software problem with the module, like communication systems or radios or anything that nowadays vehicles are kind of a moving computer, right? So everything controlled by electronics. So these electronics, when they have problems software issues, we got to go and change it, or we call it reflash it, right? So different quality issue, have mechanical, electrical, and we take care of that. Right. So that's what I was doing. So right after that, the Ford started to refer other clients, other suppliers, Mackinac, Continental, everybody to go through Dunstan, so he can get the job done faster. Right. So that's how I built the business. The first 2 years, I was able to build almost 85 clients. I have no sales agent. and I put that together. And I hired first year almost 120 technical people that time I hired to do the job. That's my pretty much the story, right? So
That's pretty cool. And then you're still like, I think it's been about 11, 12 years now, maybe more.
yeah, correct. Yes.
And, like, I think of like, 90% of businesses, the stat is, fail within the first 3 to 5 years. So you're an anomaly. Like, there's obviously a lot of successful companies, but people seem to forget that for every 10 that are started, 9 fail. So you were one of the 1 out of the 10 that succeeded, but not just, like a small success, like, like you said, you went from being fired by Ford to then being hired by them as a contractor, like essentially as a contractor with your company, to now, being a sizable company yourself, working with some of their competitors, and, like you're known in that industry. So there must be some level of redemption, that you feel that you lost this job unfairly to something it wasn't your fault. And now, you've grown this very successful multi-million-dollar business.
That's why I say God has a plan. So we have to believe in that, right? We cannot sit down and cry about it. We need to keep moving, right? So I'm blessed in that way. Even the Ford engineer still working there. He goes, Dunstan, I can't believe what happens to you. It made you much bigger and much better. He's very happy about it as well. We are very good friends, right? We are very good friends as well. So whatever happened to me is happened for a good reason. I believe in that. For the bigger purpose, I believe. Okay.
So when you're scaling up that fast, especially the first 2 years, like you said, you went from 0 to 85 clients. So I guess like these suppliers that needed someone like you to kind of do that QA and like just that work to kind of make sure these vehicles are working as they're supposed to. And you're hiring 100+ technical people. When you're scaling that fast, you usually have quality issues when you're hiring, or like you're making sure you get the right team or the right people. So number one, where are you finding all these people? Is it as a result of your dad's business with kind of the job agency? And number two, like, how do you ensure that you have quality in terms of employees? Because obviously, finding employees, you want to be quick to fire, they say, quick to hire, but slow to hire, but quick to fire.
Slow to hire, quick to fire. Yeah, that's right. That's the GECU's strategy, right?
Yeah. So like, how did you find so many people so quickly, and how did you bring them onto your team and onboard them? That's like a really hard thing to do. This episode is sponsored by nobody. That's right, nobody. So if you could be kind enough to hit that subscribe button, that would mean a lot to me.
It is. But, I always have some kind of plan and strategy when I move, right? So, like you said, I interview a lot of people, but I select some good leaders right away to run the team, right? So I hire them, I train them myself, health and safety, technical side. Then after that, I go and hire the other guys, lower them. Right? So easier for me to hire. And so they will train these guys immediately, right? And they shadow them to make sure they come to the level to perform, right? So all the hiring that time I was kind of a one-man army, invoicing myself, accounting myself, and customer service and training. It's a lot of things at the beginning is myself. I had to run around and do it, right? Then right after maybe around 6 months or so, 8 months later, I started to bring in right people to the structure. So then I set it up and stay back and watch it, perfect it, move back. That's how it kind of made it happen, right?
So in terms of like, your revenue structure, like when you're dealing with these clients, are they paying you, is it like a service contract, or is there some kind of recurring revenue opportunity? Like how did your business generate revenue? What was the model like?
So pretty much it's a service contract. My first contract was $300,000 for 3 weeks, right? That's my test they gave me to get some job done. So I was able to done for 3 weeks, but when I gave the data, the 3 weeks data, that data was above that certain percentage, 2% of the quality fall. So they asked me to continue for 3 months. So I need to run like 3 shifts of employees, 2 different sites to get the job done. So the revenue started falling straight from that. That's my first contract from Ford is that time. That's the time I got it. But right after I started Ford job, then other clients asked me to do the job as well, right? So what I was able to do is I started squeezing other clients' job into what's getting paid, and I was able to get it done with the same employees who did the one job. So I don't need to hire too many employees as well. So I pretty much have multiple, I would say 100% profit, I would say, right, per hour. So because I'm billing for one person, but I'm also charging for that person as well because I get the job done at the same time, right?
I see.
So that's pretty much it. So when I get paid, I didn't that time I didn't have any investors, nobody, right? So at some point after 1 month of struggle, then the payment started to flow in. So because I had enough profit, I was able to put back into the system, right, in the company to pay the employees and the payroll and stuff, right? So then within 8 months, 6 months, I went to a TD Commercial and asked them to give me a loan for $500,000, right? And there's a Dunstan. Usually, you need to have $2 million revenue to come to commercial. And there's 7 guys who are sitting, the guys there. I'm just like a boy there, right? 33 years old, right? Pitching business plans and ideas to the commercial team who's much smarter than me and experienced than me, right? So $2 million, Dunstan, you have only have like $800,000 revenue right now. And how can we, there's no collateral, how can we give you that money, right? I said, this is my resume, right? This is my contract. These are the type of clients I'm dealing right now. But if you lose me right now, then you lose it. That's it, right? And it's your choice. Then I pitched my whole thing to them for 10 minutes. And they said, okay, Dunstan, give us 10 minutes. And they came back and said, okay, you got it, right?
Oh,
so
nice.
That's how I got it. So I after that, I gave almost 37 business account for them, right, altogether. To TD and a lot of real estate properties and Trinity as well, because they helped me at that time. So I was being loyal to them, right? That's how I raised the funds.
Yeah, so that's a good segue into kind of, Trinity Tech is obviously the foundation. It gave you the cash flow and, like you said, the profit margins to kind of do other things, because obviously soon after Trinity Tech, as most entrepreneurs, you have lots of ideas, you see lots of opportunities.
Right.
So what are some of the other things you've kind of done, outside of Trinity Tech? Like what are some, whatever you want to share, what are some other businesses that you've launched recently that you're excited about?
So we launched right after Trinity Tnext Communication for 3 years. So we have 5,000 clients for that running, and our target is 10,000 clients.
What is that?
We provide Tnext Communication. We partner with Bell and Rogers to provide internet for phone system, IVR, cloud services. Now we have our own servers to provide space, right? So different other services for small to medium businesses. So when an entrepreneur start a business, right, they shouldn't worry about the IT setup and phone system setup and hosting, internet was nothing they shouldn't worry about. So we take the whole thing and handle for them, right? So they're done with it, including development of websites or whatever is A to Z we had to handle, right? So that's the Trinity Tech Communication does, all right? And we grew very fast as well. And Sati and Amish, those guys are in charge for that. So right after the setup's done, then I'm out, right? So then we moved to real estate development, Trinity Modular Homes, Quest Industries Supply, and another Trinity Industries is my employment agency as well, right? Quest Industries Supply pretty much supply goods for products for industries, manufacturing industries, right? So when I go to a company like Macno or some of the companies, that we can supply high skilled engineers and solutions, right? We don't supply engineering manpower, we don't do that, but we provide solutions, right? So we take the higher level service, then after the low level service, the employment, so Trinity Industry serves that. Then in between, Quest Industrial Supply do the all the packaging, safety products, and everything that string wraps and all those things we supply through it. So when I go into one client, then the multiple level we can access sales.
So basically, like you're just maximizing revenue per client instead of trying to get new clients. You're just maximizing. You're just increasing the long-term value of that customer.
Right. That's why I told my team as well. When you reach the 10,000 clients for Tnext Communication, you stop, right? Rather than you bring in 20,000 clients, you introduce 10 different other products and make sure the clients are very happy about it.
Because I think I agree with you, because I feel like there's a big conversation around this growth conversation, but I feel like the cheapest way to acquire a customer is keep a happy customer, because it's cheaper to keep a customer than trying to find a new customer. And number two, happy customers refer other customers. So like there's less sales work involved, like a lower customer acquisition cost. So I love the fact that you kind of have done that.
I believe in that. Yeah. So go ahead.
And it's interesting that like you for a customer, they might have 10 different problems, but you've created 10 different companies that solve each of those problems. So when you
Yes.
go to them, they don't have to talk to anybody else but you. You're like, hey, you have these 10 problems. I have 10 companies. We're going
Yeah.
to solve every single problem. So don't go talk to anybody else. So
Yeah. So different teams handle that. Yes.
yeah, that's brilliant. So I guess your mentality is the beginning, the setup, kind of building that initial momentum, especially around the sales momentum and maybe infrastructure momentum. Once that's set up, that's kind of for you the hard work, and then after that, you kind of you want to get out of the way because you want to put talented people in place to kind of continue to
Yes.
run and grow them, and you're just kind of there as kind of almost like a coach. If things go wrong, you provide solutions, or like if they need help, you kind of step in when needed.
Right. Right.
Got it. That's awesome. We talked a lot about kind of the business part. Obviously, you've been very successful business-wise. You talked about, even when you did not have money as a young teenager in India, you're giving, you always had that desire to kind of give. Maybe it's part of your faith. You kind of had that desire to give. So tell us a bit more about Trinity Star Foundation, and kind of why you started it and some of the impact you've made with that foundation.
Trinity Star Foundation, like I mentioned earlier, right, about the education. The great leader Nelson Mandela said, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." Right, that's his quotation, right? So I believe in education. Like I said, it's not about money, it's not about anything. It's about education giving you a lot of other things, right? Your manners, your time management, and your punctuality, a lot of things, right? So I believe that's fundamentally everybody should have that. So because of that, I created the Trinity Star Foundation to support some university students who cannot. Actually, the high school student back home who enter to university, but they don't have the money to go and support the education. Even the government support for the tuition fees and everything, but there are other expenses need to be covered, right? And these children lost their either father, and the mother goes to labor work, like அங்க கட்டப்புடுங்கன்னு சொல்றது, right? கட்டப்புடுங்க is say on hard work, right? So அப்படியான வேலை போற family பார்த்து, I started to I put a team there to get those students and support them. So I started to support that indirectly for a long time till complete their university education, right? So those are type of, then I started to fund for some school projects as well, to buy playgrounds to schools and everything, because some of the schools that we have, somebody else own their school playgrounds, and government is not supporting that. And they want to sell the playground. If they sell the playground, where the children going to go and play, right? So another project came up, so I was able to raise funds, and I put my money as well to get the project done. So I was able to support the education side. Then also our fundamental needs, I looked at it, obviously food, shelter, and clothing, right? Food and clothing, I was able to do some through nonprofits, right? I was able to work with them. And shelter, that's why I started Trinity Modular Homes, right? Recently, last 2 years ago, I launched the modular home business as well, to support homeless people, right? There are 235,000 people in Canada homeless. And we are G7 country. It's a very sad story. And when you go to downtown, when I see people on the street, I feel really sad, right? And this is G7 country, and we should take care of this issue, right? And the Canadian government is spending a lot of money as well to solve this problem. It's $12.5 billion a year, government spending, taxpayers' money to solve this problem. So I thought, I can be part of this big problem to solve it. So I introduced the Trinity Modular Homes, pretty much 800 square foot house with a washroom, kitchen, everything's there all in. I should be able to go and it's built in the factory, and I should be able to drop it and expand it and set it up for within 8 hours, right? In the crane, we bring the whole thing and set it up. So it's faster thing. And also affordability issue also right now in Toronto is a lot of people can't afford houses. Also these modular homes also serve the cottage markets as well, right? So I thought it's a good time 2 years ago to do that. And that's the shelter side of the problem I'm trying to solve, and also a lot of the First Nations, indigenous people as well, community as well. I'm serving. I partnered with 2 of the chiefs there as well to supply modular homes too. So there's a lot of orders in place to meet the demand. Okay.
So is the government like your customer? Like who's paying for these modular homes?
So right now, when it comes to the indigenous people that we are reduced the cost to provide homes. I don't mark up too much on that, and we give the discounted price for that projects. And I'm working the CSA approval for the modular homes right now to get the government contracts. For indigenous, we don't need that certification for now, but I want to get the CSA done on our factories, all getting done right now. Okay, within 3 months we'll get that done as well. So then after that, the public will pay us to buy this house as well. But eventually, that my goal is to I pitched to Oshawa Mayor as well, Dan Carter, and also Windsor Mayor too. I want to create the community of homeless shelter. Homeless people don't need to pay anything. They come and stay there, and we funded for it, right? And all those things. We have a strategy to build them up from ground up, because a lot of people go through mental illness, alcoholism, a lot of things are involved. So we need to have screening in place. Sorry about that, 1 second. Once we screen them, then we make sure to provide food and clothing for them, and then put them in shelter and give some time for them to come back mentally, right? And then after that, we wanted to arrange therapists or coaches to go and help them out. Once they are ready to go, then we put them into, we will have a common center as well to provide job search and all those things, computers and everything there to take care of it. Also some entertainment area and kitchens as well to share, right? So these are the type of model I created and I pitched to the mayors. They loved it. It's a self-running and it's nothing to do with the government funding as well. So this is something that I want to do. Once I get the CSAs done, then I'm going to go full speed on that. So I believe I can make huge impact to change the homeless issue.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the modular home space. I've been following it for like the last little while, especially for the reasons you mentioned, like high, affordability, homelessness issue. They say with homelessness, the easiest way to solve that problem is just if you give somebody like a place, like even a room, somewhere they can call home, they're very unlikely to return back into homelessness. It's like a very counterintuitive solution. It's like, what's the simplest way to solve healthcare? Get people to exercise regularly, eat better. That's like a simple, cost-effective solution, so you can reduce the strain on the healthkir system. So similarly,
your root cause, you had to change. You had to see in automotive, we always go after the root cause.
Yes.
Right. So let's see if we have some kind of a shelter like this, and when people can stay there and apply for jobs. Right now, each person will have their own unit. They have their own place to sleep and also change clothes. Right now, the shelters they have is kind of a shared. Share. How a woman can trust another woman or man to be on the room and they sleep together side by side on the beds? That doesn't. I don't go by that. It's already they are affected mentally about this situation, and now you put them there, it's going to really make them feel worse. So by giving a home or a room for themselves, and they have a unit address where they can apply for jobs. When they apply for a job, and this is the address and this is the unit number for that house, and that they feel they have an address right now.
Ownership. They feel like ownership of something.
Exactly. A lot of people think, oh, why they can find a job? How could they find a job when they are still struggling to eat? Number one. Number two, they have no computers or access to apply for a job, right? Number three, they have no address, right? So you should be able to provide all these things and to help them out. And then I will be talking to the mayors and everybody say, okay, if a person comes from a jail, first question when they get out, you should ask is, hey, do you have a place to go? If they have a place to go, that's great. Go ahead, no problem. And if they have no place to go, hey, call this number. This guy will come and pick you up, right? So our team will go and pick them up and drop them in shelter. Otherwise, what happens if they go out and they have no shelter? Guess what? Where they're going to go? Go back to the street. When they go back to the street, what happens? They have no food or nothing. They go and steal or do something other crime. What's happened is they go back to jail. Who pays for the jail? Taxpayers. If they get sick, what happens is you go to hospital. Who pay for the hospital bills? Right. Under the Canadian weather, people cannot stay outside, right? So they get sick and they go to the hospital. So our strategy is going to be, pretty much. Rather than the 100 homeless people go to 100 hospital, you have 100 nurses are used, 100 doctors are used, 100 beds are used. So it's a huge expense. Rather than that, if we can bring everybody into under one roof And the doctors and nurses come periodically, be proactive and come and check and make sure everything okay. That saves a lot of taxpayers' money.
Yep. That's
Right?
great. I love it. Yeah.
I don't want to just come here and talk about homeless and
No. I love this. No, this is what people like to hear, right? Like, I mean, I didn't know about this business, but I know it serves twofold. It's like a business, but it's also doing good. And like you said, homelessness, like, it's funny, we have a lot of similar interests because like the homelessness issue, like I've read a lot about it. It's just like, it's like the most obvious solution, but where nobody like, there's a side of people, a certain group of people that don't want to do that because they feel like, why give them a home? But then if they're fiscally responsible, even just look at it from, forget the human point of view, which I'm looking at, but if you're looking at it from a fiscal point of view, it makes much more sense to spend a little money, give them a place they can call home that's safe, that sense of ownership. And then, they can start contributing to society again. They can be mentally, physically whole again. Like, it's, so I can definitely talk about this for a while as well. Like, I did
that's a long topic, Alan. You don't have much time for this, right?
So another thing I kind of want to touch on was, you have a remarkable story, like, many people that I've talked to that, I talk to Tamils all over the world, not just from Sri Lanka, but if you're talking about the Sri Lankan Tamil story, the common thread is, obviously the war displaced a lot of people. It also removed a lot of potential from Jaffna, which could have been, maybe the Silicon Valley of Asia with kind of the tech talent there and like, the beautiful weather, etc. So there's a lot of people that, there's a lot of potential that potentially got wasted or, moved to other countries like yourself, right? Like you could have been doing this in Sri Lanka as well. You had fond memories of that, but instead you're in Canada, which has been a fantastic country doing a lot of great things for us as well. But I guess my point is I see a lot of entrepreneurial stories like yours in the Tamil community where, there's these newcomers, you came from like very unstable or like, difficult childhood. And then you come here and right away or like within a very short period of time. When I look at the collective Tamil community in Toronto, for example, in one generation, you went from like having nothing, like a lot of these people having nothing to like, high-end professional jobs, doctors, entrepreneurs, politicians, people like yourself. What do you think it is about that, like that journey or like the Tamil community that just enabled us to kind of do this? Like, I just find it really remarkable, just the high percentage of success stories I see. Did you know that every time you left a 5 out of 5 review for this podcast, a Tamil parent lets their child pursue a career in the creative arts? Okay, that's probably not true, but if there's a chance that it is, do you really want to jinx it? Leave a review. Do it for the young creative in you.
Sorry, Anna, I missed that. I'm so sorry. My when you talk, my mind went somewhere else and came back.
Okay, no problem. What I meant to say was, okay, so there's a high number of, if you look at the percentage of Tamil people that are not just professionals, just Tamil people that immigrated, especially from Sri Lanka, as refugees. In one generation, we went from kind of having nothing to a ton of, not even just something. It's like not just barely making it. Like you have people that are highly successful like yourself. I know there's a lot of other entrepreneurs like the Stans and like, just a bunch of other people like that have done really well in a short period of time. What do you think it is about that story or that journey that's contributing to that?
It's a drive, man. Honestly, it's I believe we as Tamil, we are what I see for most of the Tamil guys right now, I see and girls as well, they have passion, drive, very smart. Our people are very smart. You give them something, they'll come and go and get it done. Most of my engineers I hire, some guys I hired, they did masters, but they worked from the garage. And one guy was the engineering, and he was from the bakery. I'm like, they came to me and asked me for opportunity as a volunteer to get experience, right? I told them, no, I'll give you something. Go and show me in 1 month what you can do, right? So now all my clients hire these guys, and they're in a good job and higher level right now. And otherwise, these talents have been wasted. And the problem is we didn't have enough direction, Dada. We didn't have any guidance, right? If a person in our community wants to start a business, we don't have a guy to take them off the ground. And it shadows so sad, they don't have any guides or financial support, nothing like that, right? So for your question it's the drive and the passion and the opportunity. Back home, we didn't have the opportunity to do anything, right? So when we came here, when we see the opportunity, we don't just grab, whatever we can grab, we just grab it, right? Because we don't care about sleeping. We don't care about doing anything. It's just, we were hungry about it, everything, right? It's just, it's not about money hungry. It's like the drive that we have. I still have the drive to go and conquer the world kind of thing. And whatever comes on my way, I just take it and run it. I don't care about I can sleep or not, but that's the fire that I have, that to do things. And right now, again, on top of all these things happening, I'm trying to work with Chamber, as well as I'm trying to work myself as well. I wanted to, next year, my goal is to bring at least 10 entrepreneurs by next December, to coach them, fund them, and support them to grow their businesses. Because as our community businesses grow, a lot of people underneath them benefits, right? It's like alamaram. And some of my friends call me alamaram, right? So which means, yeah, you are standing there, but it's a lot of things benefits to other people, right? You give shadows, you give a lot of things to the birds and everything. So a lot of people can benefit from that. So if I can create at least 10 to 20 people like myself and support them, build them up, guess how many people they're going to help, right? So one guy approached me from Sri Lanka. His name is Aaron, from Vavuniya side. I never know the guy. He called me and say, Anna, I need to talk. So he keep texting me in LinkedIn, right? I'm like, how did you get my things and how did you find me? Because no, I wanted to do something bigger. I couldn't get a loan here. I'm running a half-acre papaya estate. So he showed me the pictures. I want to grow this to three acres by next year. This is my plan. I want to find someone who can fund me. So I was looking at where the most Tamil people in the world is Canada. And then after, how many people are business people? Out of how many people are business people are doing well and who want to help? He watched my videos and everything. Now he wanted to LinkedIn me. Then we connected. Now I said, I'll give you the full support under two conditions, right? One is you had to find 2 more entrepreneurs in Jeff now or someone you can support, right? Number one. Number two is find a charitable organization or orphanage somewhere in Bhavani or somewhere, the Mulati or somewhere for me to get involved and support. And all the profit, all the investment I'm making on you, the profit you had to support, contribute to the orphanage or charitable organization there, right? So my point arises, there are a lot of talents out there in our community who don't have support. I feel that I can really make difference in young generations who need help, and not just the money, but anything that I know, and so I want to do. And some guys make an appointment with me for 1 hour. They come with 20 questions or 30 questions. They go through very quick with me with all things. So a lot of things I answer and structure them right away. Because Dunstan, oh my God, I can't believe 1 hour that I spent with you, and I learned so much. And something like, how do you keep your employee loyal, right? Some questions like that, right? So when I answer them, this is how you take care of the employees, this is how you do, and that's where you get the loyalty. Because before, in the old times, we control employees by 2 things. One is fear, other one is loyalty, right? So now you cannot fear them. You can threat them to do anything. Only you can do by loyalty, right? So how do you gain the loyalty, right? So I was coaching them about that, and because Dunstan, wow, I want to do something for you. What can I do? What can I buy for you? I said, you don't need to do anything for me. Just buy me 1 book. I give a book name. That's it, right? Write something about me, what I did for you, whatever it is, and the book, and sign it. That's what I want. That's it, right?
Love it. Yeah. I love it. It's a good conversation. So, as you're talking, one of the things that came to mind was, you mentioned, as you're probably building up these businesses, balancing, and I don't like this word, but like, we'll just use it, but balancing everything. So like, obviously you have a family, there's your health, there's your businesses. So how do you kind of, balance all these things together to kind of make sure that, they're being adequately taken care of? Or does it come in, or, in some seasons, do you have to spend more time doing one versus the other? Like, how do you do that?
At the beginning, I'll be honest, it was very tough, right? Business and family is tough. Your drive can break your family, right? Your passion can break your family. And once you lose your family, you lose everything else, right? So you got to be very careful, right? I end up, honestly, sleeping at the Ford plant almost 6 months. I was in the parking lot sleeping, wake up next day, go to Tim Hortons, brush, and come back to work. Right, that's what I was doing. 6 months to build up. Right after that, a lot of things get smoother, and we were able to enjoy the family time and everything. But we had to be very careful. You can break the family. Right, when that time come in, I always tell the people, set your core values as a business person or whoever you are. Set your core values. What's important to you? At the time, I said my core values are family, health, wealth, wisdom, and spirituality. 5 things, right? So family, you spend, I promised myself, I never miss my children's any of the school functions or anything like that. or if I go to a business trip, I come back and spend 1 week with them. Things like that I put in place. And I promised myself not to spend any of my siblings or nephew or niece functions. Till now, I never missed any of them, right? So that's how I put. But all you can do everything, and at the end of the day, the time you had to provide to your family and to your wife, it's very challenging, right? So even after you make money and everything, yeah, you provide time, but your mind somewhere else, right? And still, my wife and I had problems in the marriages, right? It's a very challenging, and we went through a lot of things, a lot of hardship. But for me, what can I do? Like I'm building up a lot of families that depending on me for the payrolls and everything. If I fall down and cry, you have to shut it down, right? You grow or you die. That's a business, right? So I explained to my wife as well, but she done some, one is enough. I'm like, Shami, like I can't. My strategy is this. I cannot depending on one business to do this. That's why I have 15 or 20 different businesses. I need to run it at the same time. This is my strategy. This is what I want to do. I want to create this. It's self-running. I need this much time. But obviously, it's very challenging, right? So yeah. Then after I told her, okay, you know what? 4 times a year we go for vacation. Let's set up vacation 4 times a year. Every quarter I went for vacations, like very luxury vacations. Spend a lot of money. But the thing is, I told her one condition is I want to see the 7 wonders every year. So 7 years ago, I set the goal. I reached the goal to see that 7 wonders and travel the whole almost so many countries, right? But then you give the time and everything. What happened is then she come back and say, done. Yeah, you don't answer the phone calls now, and the weekends you don't work much, but you missed to take care of my heart. I'm like, boom, right? So it's never ending. It's never ending, right? It's challenging to run the family, but you set your priorities right to make sure that nothing fall apart. But as a business people, we all can lose families, right? That's the fear everyone should have, and that's a choice that you make. Again, I don't know, very very simply, if I put it, if you take a horizontal bar and if you put the middle on the axis, right, and one side you have a nirvana, which is Buddha side, right? You lose everything, forget about everything, you go and find nirvana, right? Other side you find more desire you have, Napoleon Hill, right? More desire, much desire you have, you become a billionaire or whatever it is, right? But which way you going to take? There's nothing called balancing right now as is. But if you really want to choose thinking that, oh, I need to only satisfy one person, but not care of the world, or that's your world, one person is your world. Which decision would you take, right? It's person to person is different, right? Then I said, you know what? I don't want to go for nirvana and lose everything. That I'm being selfish, right? I was planning to go to Himalaya at the time as well, when I was almost 36, right? 37, because I reached my goals, financial goals, I reached it, right? So I go that level, or I make a lot of money and help a lot of people. Which way is better? So I thought, God gave me a talent to do something, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to help as much as people as I can before I die. And that's what path I want to take it, and no regrets after that, right? So people to people different. That's my advice, right?
Great answer. You touched on money. So what's your relationship with money like? Like, how do you think about investing? Like, how do you kind of have your money allocated? Whatever you want to share around that.
Yeah, so money is important. When I was working, we were struggling so much, paycheck to paycheck again. My family life, and even after I married, I had two boys, twins, right? It was hardship for sure. But I set the time. That time, like we are really hard financially struggling. And when I was 33, right? I was married in 29. Kids came in 31, right? So 33, I said, I'm going to be a millionaire. That's the decision I made. But define what's millionaire. I said I'm going to retire by 45. That's my goal. Then I said, what's define retirements? Retirements, right? Pay off your credit card, pay off your debts, everything. Put so much money in your bank that give you enough return that you can live from the return, right? That's the goal. What's the number? I said $1.2 million by 45. I put the goal in 33. By 34, I achieved the number. Now what? Now you can shut it down and sit down, or you can pursue further, right? But at the time, the money is you make After that million, you don't feel like you're greedy for money. It's something else drives you. It's I'm not a power hungry person or greedy person, right? I don't go after material things, but I like to do something else bigger. So that's the decision I made to make the money. Once you make the money, there's the three things: make, save, invest. Very simple, right? So obviously saving, when you save it, what happens is, so bomb a swamp. Money bomb a swamp is going to stink. It doesn't do anything to anybody, right? So, but at the same time, if you let the money to go, it will go. If you think about the money as a river, what happens? What happens to the river? It goes into the ocean at the end, right? But if the money at the way, if it's a river, if you really channel it properly, a lot of lives can benefit from that, right? All the trees, plants, birds, animals drink from it, human drink from it. So a lot of people drink from it. That's a nature's lesson for us to learn from nature. So if you take the river and rather than letting it go to the ocean, you divert it back and make a circular motion. But it's still driving, still circulating, right? But it's flowing. That's investment. So that's why it's started to create each companies who support each other and invest money in real estate, gold, and other businesses as well to create the wealth, and the wealth is staying within your control, that a lot of people can benefit from that.
Got it. Like that, yeah.
That's the analogy I can give you.
In terms of, I guess, if you were to kind of go back, you had a chance to go talk to 16-year-old Dunstan, go back in a time machine and talk to him, what would you tell him?
Wow, that's a good question. I don't know. It's
Money can be hard to come by, but here is a $100 opportunity for you. Join my free newsletter for free exclusive content and a free chance to win $100 when I hold special draws. Did I mention that it's free?
I would say have faith, believe in yourself, right? Life is going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful. It is beautiful. Yeah.
What's maybe a habit, belief, or behavior in the last few years that you've kind of adapted, or maybe even earlier, that's really impacted your life?
Yeah. So I wake up 5 in the morning, and I set the morning routine and night routines. That's I follow, right? So remember that health, wealth, and wisdom and everything. Like I said, I talked about the family, but when you come to health, wealth side, also you set your goals every year. See, when I come to New Year resolution era, I don't have a New Year resolution because I already defined my 10-year plan or 20-year plan on these five core values, right? So when it comes to wealth, I said my goal, this is what I'm going to reach this year. How do I do that? I put the plan, right? Then when it comes to health, wealth, family, health, health-wise, I already every day I exercise and make sure your cholesterol every year checked and sugar I check and all those things. I track the numbers and make sure that I'm okay. But if it's going to happen, something bad to you, it's going to happen. Doesn't matter what. But you have to be prepared and you need to take anything as granted, right? If you can exercise, go and wake up and exercise. You must do every day, right? So don't get it granted. So set your goals. This is what your health goals are, right? Then come to wisdom. So wealth side, you do the same thing. You set your target financial. Then after that, go to the health, wealth, or wisdom. I always read books, and I say, okay, this month, this many books I'm gonna read, and these are a list of books. On my 40th birthday, I requested all the guests came up there, only bring books. This is the list of books I gave. So I got like 120 or 200 books. All the books that I wanted, I was reading those things, right? So I love to read books. So wisdom, not just reading books, it's come from your family experience, right? How hard it is and all those things. What are the sacrifices you're supposed to make after the health and wealth, when you make the wealth, and how are the experience you go through, then only you gain wisdom, right? And to come to wisdom, then also you learn from a lot of people as well, right? Then come to spirituality. Spirituality, when you come to that, you don't need to wait till retire to do something spiritual work. You can start to do right now, right? It's your food for your soul. Then, why don't you do right now? So I put some kind of a meditation plan and charitable things to do. So pretty much that point is ask the question, what I'm doing right now, what's the reason I'm doing the things that I'm doing right now, right? So that should answer the question, why am I doing right now? That's your spiritual part. That should be answered as soon as possible before you do a lot of other things.
Love it.
Yeah.
And I guess the final question before we kind of jump into creator confessions, what, I guess, how do you want to be remembered in terms of your personal legacy in a few sentences? Like, how would you want to be remembered by your friends and family?
After I died, I don't give a shit. So, see, after I died, I don't care how they can remember me. But while I'm living, that's what I want to make sure that how they can remember me when I see them is loving, kind-hearted, a person who wanted to help anybody who comes to get help. That's why I want to be remembered.
Okay, well, that's a good segue into the last segment of the podcast. It's something I like to call Creator Confessions. I want to basically say like a bunch of statements, and you're going to give me a quick answer to them. So you ready,
Okay.
Dunstan?
Yeah, go ahead. Bring it
All right.
on.
Favorite Tamil food?
Dosa. Masala dosa. Masala ghee dosa.
Something that scares you?
Snake. I'm
I hate snakes too.
Yeah, because I killed a lot of snakes back home, right? So that's still I get those dreams.
You dealt with, like, here there's not those kind of snakes. You had like cobras and things like that.
Yeah, I'm a badass there, so I run and I hunt them, right? So, but it affected my childhood, and I sometimes I get fear and dreams because I did that. I
Wow.
feel sorry for it, and I'm trying to get some forgiveness from that what I have done, right? So that scares me. Yeah.
Well, snakes are scary, but they're important for the ecosystem if you like
Yes,
learn
definitely,
about.
definitely. Yes.
Insecurity that you have?
I don't, man. I'm sorry. Insecurity. Wow. I'm very confident guy. Trust me. I love myself. Whatever you say, I love it.
Favorite show you're watching?
Squid right now. It's just been Squid.
Squid Games. Okay.
Yes, it's pretty. It's about money as well, right?
Yeah.
And it's amazingly put together. Yeah.
A place you're itching to travel to after the pandemic is over?
Sorry.
A place you're itching to travel to after the pandemic is over?
I already have the plan to South America into a continent trip, backpack. So that's what I'm planning to do. But next week I'm going out of country as well. So
awesome.
Okay. Yeah.
Fellow Tamil creator you want to give a shout out to?
Fellow Ada.
I'll take it. Favorite childhood memory?
Climbing top of the mango tree and trying to catch that one mango on the wind and never scared of falling down. So I'm top of the tree all the time and doing that. So that's scary when I went back and looked at it. What a stupid things I have done, but that's I remember that. Yeah.
You do stupid things as kids. What do you do for fun outside of work?
I do a lot of reads, but I gym, workout, sports, a lot of movies. I watch a lot of movies. That calms me down. Other things kind of motivates me too much, and the movies calms me down. So I finish all the all the movies. Then completed. I finish all the shows. I have nothing much to see, honestly. I go back and watch again. I started to watch Telugu movies, Tamil movies. You name all the movies, I watched it. Yeah. So.
Wow. What's a purchase you've made or like that you've splurged on like in the last few years that you have no regret about?
What's the purchase, sorry?
Like, so what's something that you bought recently in the last couple of years that's been very expensive, or like, something that, it was a splurge, like, it wasn't like a logical buy. You just decide to buy it, but you have no regret about it.
Bentley.
Okay.
Bentley Continental VRS.
I don't know much about cars, but it sounds expensive. I know Bentleys are expensive. So, pet peeve of yours?
Pet what?
Pet peeve.
What's that?
Pet peeve. It's like something that annoys you. Like, pet peeve of mine is when somebody, I don't know, somebody's always late, for example. I don't know, that's an example.
What bothers me is lazy people. Nowadays, kids don't want to put their hands dirty and hard work, right? It just annoys me amount of time they take to complete the job, right? It's being laziness. Yeah.
Laziness. Okay. If you knew that you were going to die tomorrow, a regret that you would have?
Regret nothing. I'll be honest. Every decision I make, I own it. So I don't have much regrets. I don't have regrets at this time. When I die tomorrow, I'll be happy to die. That's it.
A celebrity whose life you want to experience for one day?
Elon Musk.
You're like the 20th person that said that. That guy's a genius marketer.
No, he's a visionary, right? So That's something that I look up to. Yeah.
He's a genius marketer too. Like, he got Tesla built up to like almost $1 trillion company with
Yeah.
zero marketing, like they don't, it's crazy.
Yeah, crazy.
And finally, what's a piece of advice that you would give to aspire, your fellow Tamil creators out there that are aspiring to do something?
Go and find your dream. Don't be scared of anything. When you start something, a lot of people will follow you for the idea. If you're really passionate about something, the money will come in. A lot of people will come to support. You are not alone. There's a lot of people there to help you out. So just go and hunt and find yourself and accomplish your dreams. That's what I can say.
Awesome. Well, Dunstan, it's been a pleasure. I mean, I think, I thought I knew a few things about you, but I think, in this about an hour that we've kind of talked, I've learned a lot about you. Very inspiring story. Kind of love your thinking and kind of how intentional you are. And I think people that listen will be inspired. So if somebody that's listening to this podcast, you said that you're looking for people to kind of, help grow, like be that tree of life, kind of, helping them.
647-654-2027. I know where you're going at.
Yeah, your contact. I was going to say, what's the best way to contact you? Is it like phone number? Is it LinkedIn?
Yeah, my LinkedIn is already there. All my details there. I'm open to talk to anybody, right? My doors are open all the time for anyone. So
and for someone that's approaching you, is there something you would advise in terms of how to make a good impression, like a good first impression with you?
You don't need to impress me. Make sure your plans are thorough, and you should know what you're asking. If I can give you, I give. If I can't, I'll say I can't for different reasons, right? And I'll let you know. But make sure you ask us right, and your plan is there before you move forward. I mean, ask something, right? So be prepared. That's all I can tell you. So you have to value other people's time. If you want some result, then come prepared.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Dunstan. Like I said, I think this is gonna, like you're doing, I'm trying to inspire people through interesting conversation like this, and I think people will listen to your story and be inspired. So I appreciate you making time.
I am very, very impressed by what you're doing, Aram, and also your persistence to get me on board on this. Right?
1 year. This has been 1 year, guys.
Almost 1 year. I know. I'm so sorry. I know you want to write an article as well, but I'm not looking for any exposure, all those things, but a lot of other things on my plate, right? But at the same time, it's like you said, and I heard one of your other podcasts as well. We talked about the sales, right? So you're a great sales guy, very good job. What you're doing is very good to the Tamil community and connect other entrepreneurs as well. A lot of people, right? So you're bringing those talents to the public, and what you're doing is a good service. A lot of people should be benefit from that, and keep up the good work.
Awesome. Thank you again, Dunstan.
Thanks, sir.